So welcome everyone to our Lower Mainland Wing Effective Speaking Competition. My name is Jermaine Chu. I am the BC Effective Speaking Coordinator. I am excited today to present to you our 7 cadets. And here are a few housekeeping rules to keep in mind. Out of respect for our speakers, judges, and audience, we ask that you are muted during the speakers for the competition, excuse me. I would like to remind you that no photography screenshots are to be taken during the competition. The competition is being recorded and the videos will be posted on the BCPC website once approved. At the end of competition, we will have the chance to take some photos and screenshots. Please decide prior to speech beginning if you would like to have your video on or off. Once the speeches begin, please do not switch mid-speech to move about as speech is in progress. We will monitor the audio and visual while the speech is underway. Once this meeting is announced as beginning, those entering late will be admitted in between speeches. The format for today is as follows. Each speaker will present a 5 to 6 minute speech with a 2-minute break for our judges to mark. We ask for your cooperation in keeping your systems muted while our judges score. After all prepared speeches are complete, the judges may email their marks to the designated email address just received. We will then take a short break, then commence the impromptu section of the competition. The impromptu speeches will be 2 to 3 minutes in length, and then 2 minutes for our judges to do their markings. The impromptu speeches will be presented in reverse order. The speakers will not know the topic of the speech until they are given 3 minutes to prepare prior to their turn. At the competition of this, after the completion of the speeches, we will tally the scores and then announce the top 3 names. The winner will continue on to our provincial competition held on April 17th on Zoom with details to follow. Then, if successful, they will move on to our nationals, which is held on June 5th, also on Zoom with details to follow. So without further ado, if I may, my judges are all ready, and my cadets, are you ready? Perfect. Without further ado, it is my privilege to introduce to you Speaker 1. Describe an historic event and what it meant to Canada. Describe a historic event and what it meant to Canada. Speaker 1.
When an outsider thinks of Canada, what do you think of? They think of the nice people with a funny accent from the north, the guys who are neighboring the United States that no one knows about. But back during World War I, we had a completely different reputation. In World War I, Canada sent a force of 619,635 men and women to serve in the war. 424,000 of those who went overseas. This force was called the Canadian Expeditionary Force, and they were one of the top fighting units in Canada, or in the world, I should say. The thing that set the Canadian Expeditionary Force apart from others was that though Canada was a dominion of the United Kingdom, it is important to note that it is the only dominion of the United Kingdom that was allowed its own force comprised of only Canadians and later commanded by Canadians. Because of this, Canada was later awarded a seat in the bargaining table at the end of the war, allowing it to gain some more independence from Great Britain. Canada was known for its ruthless tactics and innovative techniques, starting with the creeping barrage, making its way to early tanks. Canada was a revolutionary force during the war and one not to be meddled with. All the enemies knew about the red patch of the Canadian Expeditionary Force, and it is even noted that some forces, after seeing them and seeing those patches, would surrender immediately. Unfortunately, though 424,000 people went overseas to fight in the war, 559,454 men and women lost their lives in the war. It is important to remember their sacrifice and remember what they contributed to the independence of Canada. Canada started out in the war in the Battle of the Somme, and then later on helped in the capturing or led in the capturing of Vimy Ridge. These two battles defined what it meant to be a Canadian: brave, bold, and intelligent. The Battle of Vimy Ridge was extremely good for Canadian reputation, as it had taken 4 years for both the British, French, and American soldiers to rotate trying to take Vimy Ridge, while for Canadians it took 2 days of siege. The reputation of the Canadian Expeditionary Force was extremely legendary and led to the creation of Canada as we know it today. Canada was one of the only countries that went into a total war doctrine, making it so that every single civilian in Canada, whether they and every industry participate in the war either directly or indirectly, whether it was building strong, sturdy ships or manufacturing the most complicated aircraft parts. Some Canadians did not serve in the Canadian Expeditionary Force, but served in the Royal Air Force as some of the first airmen in military service. This brought forward a new age of warfare in which aerial superiority and reconnaissance was to be the new strategy for warfare. It is now considered to be a Canadian pilot is considered to be the one who shot down the famed German pilot, the Red Baron. This accomplishment uh, went through the entirety of Canada, and that pilot later became a aerial mailman for Canada. It is imperative that we remember the sacrifices and the innovations that Canadians made throughout the war, whether it be at the beginning of the Battle of Somme or near to the end of the 100-day campaign towards Berlin. Canadians across the war had a extremely big part in the war and shaped how the borders of Europe and the rest of the world have been drawn to this day. Ivan Mohammed Abdullah, Flight Sergeant from 278 Cormorant Squadron. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 1. And 2 minutes for our judges. And without further ado, we have Speaker 2. What does diversity mean to me? What does diversity mean to me? Speaker 2.
Diversity. That's a big word. Personally, when I think of diversity, I think of BIPOC representation, but really, diversity includes so much more than just that. One of my favorite quotes is by William Sloane Coffin Jr., and he says, "Diversity may be the hardest thing for society to live with, and perhaps the most dangerous thing for society to be without." In today's day and age, you'd think we would finally be able to function as a single unit, but the truth is, when I look at the world, I see workplaces and entire industries with one dominating crowd. I see people wanting equal rights and treatment, but having to face age-old prejudices and discrimination. But most of all, I see a society changing, but not being able to accept it. Now, my take on this topic may be a little different from what you may have seen in the past. So today, Madam Chair, judges, fellow cadets, parents, and everyone in between, I'm going to tell you what diversity means to me, especially in the workplace. So now, before I go into the details, I want to ask everyone here a question, and the question is, why does diversity even matter? Now, before we can answer this question, we need to figure out what the word diversity in itself even means. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the word diversity means the fact of many different types of things or people being included in something. Now we know from this definition alone that diversity is not only limited to POC representation, but the inclusion of everyone, no matter their gender, race, or sexuality. As much as we overlook some parts of history, a diverse society is what has helped us grow into what we are today. Up until the mid-20th century, people of color worked labor-heavy jobs, setting a foundation for the ever-changing workforce and persevering through the discrimination they faced on a daily basis. During both world wars, women kept things together on the home front, doing what men could not as most were overseas fighting, but through this, they slowly gained more and more rights that we could not imagine living without today. My point is, throughout history, every person has contributed to where we are today, no matter what they looked like or where they stood in society, and still we are not perfect. But being able to accept that having diversity is a crucial part of society will one day take us to where it needs to be. When we switch over from looking at the past to the present, we can see what areas of society grew more diverse and which didn't. According to TechCo, the career paths with the most racial diversity include retail, transportation, pharmaceuticals, travel, recreation, and defense. Opposing this, the careers with the least racial diversity include legal services, social sciences, arts, entertainment, sales, and education, according to theatlantic.com. When I compare these two groups, the first thing I notice is the pay gap. The areas with the most racial diversity pay on the lower half of the scale, while the areas with the least racial diversity pay on the higher half of the scale. This only applies to people of color, but it is a very commonly known fact that men and women have had a significant pay gap for decades now. I only use the workplace as an example to show where diversity is lacking because it's the area most people are familiar with, but also to show the prejudices and discrimination people of color and women face on a daily basis in order to achieve these higher paying jobs. Being a diverse society does not mean grouping certain people into certain areas of society, but letting every part of society be diverse. Like I quoted in the beginning, diversity is the most dangerous thing for a society to be without. Different kinds of people are what help society grow to the best of its ability and realize how it can improve as a whole. As a person of color myself, sometimes statistics like these worry me. I, along with many other people, have to worry if the way I look will affect my future. If people are reluctant, even unconsciously, to let go of their prejudices, we can never truly be a diverse society. Even today, hundreds of people have been denied things they truly deserve because of some prejudice or discrimination from years before they were even born. So now I ask you again, why does diversity even matter? My answer to this is diversity, especially in the workplace, is the one thing that will help us continue to evolve, innovate, and problem solve. Having diversity means having multiple points of views and opinions on things some people would never even consider. Young people, such as myself, shouldn't be seeing things like these as problems anymore, but we are, which means something needs to change. Diversity in itself means variety, and in the 21st century, especially with all the talks of changing the way things are, nothing has happened yet because as much as we hate to admit it, sometimes people just aren't willing to change. So now I've told you what diversity means to me and why it matters to me, but now I'm asking you, what is your take on this matter? Is it that we need more diversity or that society is fine just the way it is? Is it that people who face constant prejudices and discrimination deserve it? Or being punished for some old mentality before their years? But most of all, do you believe society is ready to change? Because I do. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 2, and 2 minutes for our judges. Next, we will have Speaker 3. What does diversity mean to me? What does diversity mean to me? Speaker 3.
The term diversity has come to have a significant role in the lives of thousands of people, whether it be in gender, race, or sexual orientation. Being different is just the new normal. But it wasn't always that way. In Canada, at a young age, we are taught that our country used to treat these differences as if they were the plague, with an uncalled mindset fearing change. Much has developed since then, and this generation is continuously pushing forward for the acceptance of change and differences. This is the meaning of diversity. We see it happening around the world, fueled by the young people of today. Events such as support for the LGBTQ community, missing or murdered Indigenous women and girls, and most recently, the death of George Floyd, or better known as the Black Lives Matter movement. All of these events are happening, and the difference is that we are fighting even harder for the acceptance of diversity. The LGBTQ has been around for generations, but it was only in 2005 when they finally began to gain rights for same-sex marriage. This decision was not made by the free will of the people who were in power. It was made by the pressuring of thousands of Canadians that refused to be ashamed of their differences of society. There is a reason that the celebration of these rights being legalized is called the Pride Parade. Acceptance has grown significantly in our community. It is shown in public places such as schools, recreational centers, and neighborhoods. And of course, the most effective areas on entertainment and on social media. This community is simply considered normal by most people, and it's a welcome change for those looking to find their place. Unfortunately, not every battle in the acceptance of diversity has been completely won. A particular issue has grown in awareness of Canadians. I myself only found about this issue through social media. From 2001 to 2014, the average rate of homicides involving Indigenous female victims was 4 times higher than of those of homicides that were non-Indigenous female victims. And the justice system is to blame for these fatal reports, and they are fully aware of it. To this day, the safety, security, and dignity of Indigenous mothers, daughters, sisters, and friends are routinely threatened. Time and again, we have heard of their disappearance, violence, or even death being labeled as a low priority or ignored. This was said by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. These were his remarks for the national inquiry when being asked about this issue. On February 14th, an annual memorial march is held every year in Vancouver in recognition to protest the neglect of the people based on their cultural backgrounds. They do this as a reminder that there is still much that is left to be looked into. Similarly, in 2020, the death of George Floyd, a Black man who was killed after a police officer knelt on his neck for 9.5 minutes. Before the video and the story of the arrest was made public, the officer's unspeakable actions were dismissed. This sparked international outrage at the government and the justice system. Protests began on May 26, 2020, and by June 6, an estimated 500,000 joined within the United States, to eventually grow to over 60 countries in support of Black Lives Matter movement. With the protests growing, so did the pressure on the injustice of police brutality, police racism, and lack of police accountability. This one event sparked light on something that had been swept under the rugs for years. Many other people of color who were abused during similar situations took upon the opportunity to speak up about their own experiences. At the end of the day, all these people want is to be treated equally, no matter what their race is. I never imagined myself to be organizing an anti-racism project for my last year of high school. And along with that, I never thought that I would grow to be so passionate when it came to dealing with the topic. I wasn't even supposed to be in the class. But it was these events that encouraged me to do so. And as I was writing the speech and working on my school project, I realized that the meaning of diversity isn't just a simple definition of recognizing our individual differences. To me, diversity is about the fight and the hard work that got us to that point of recognition. The enlightenment and justice that was brought to those who were wrong. The LGBTQ, missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and the Black Lives Matter movement is visual proof of this. And this is just the beginning. It's time that we take responsibility to fight for diversity within our own communities and our own country. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 3. And 2 minutes for our judges, please. Next, we have Speaker 4. What does bravery mean to you? What does bravery mean to you? Speaker 4.
Bravery isn't always about an act of courageousness. In movies, being brave is shown as the prince saving the beautiful princess. The prince gallantly rides in on his horse and courageously kills the evil dragon to save the maiden. And then the prince rides away with the princess and they live happily ever after. That might be the stereotypical definition of bravery. But there is much more to it than riding horses and killing dragons. I make sacrifices for others. It's not how strong we are or how valiant we are. What matters is what we do for others and how we can better ourselves through our failures. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges. I'm Corporal Shu from 655 Richmond Squadron. We might not all be rescuing princesses, but our acts of bravery can save the world. Failure scares us. Only a few months ago, I took part in a math competition. During the competition, I was feeling very confident, and I thought that I did very well. Unfortunately, 3 months from that day, I got my score. I only scored 30 out of 80, which is disastrous. It wasn't the proudest moment of my life, and I never wanted that to happen again. I was quite sad, and I hated math for quite a while. Eventually, I began to realize that sulking around did nothing, and I needed to be able to face this failure and get something out of it. I started to practice more, and eventually I aced a different math competition. This is how we need to face our failures. We need to be brave about failing, and once we do, we need to be able to face it and come out of it stronger. Think about a time you had a disagreement with someone. Did you reach out to the person and apologize first? Or did you wait for the other person? If you reached out first, you were able to empathize with the person you argued with. You managed to leave your own comfort zone and step into someone else's world to try to understand them and resolve the issue at hand. I think that's pretty brave. Once we are brave enough to take the initiative and be more empathetic, we can resolve conflicts with the act of stepping into others' shoes. In an old Chinese folktale, two generals had a massive disagreement. It was so bad, they started a war over it. Eventually, one general realized that this war was pointless. They were using resources over a little disagreement. He was brave and reached out to the other warlord, and they made amends and signed a peace treaty. They stopped fighting, and eventually these two generals became good friends. It was all because one general empathized with the other and understood how the other general felt. The next time you have a conflict, all you need to do is be a little brave and be the one that reaches out first to empathize with the other person. Being selfless is also an important part of being brave. When we give something up for someone else, we're helping them improve. Being able to step back and allow someone else to progress because of you is one form of extreme bravery. We need to be brave enough to help others, and once we are, the rich will be helping the poor. Countries would work together to help developing countries. And the reason why this is brave is because you're giving up your own resources to help others. When I was younger, I often had trouble with being selfless. I was always somewhat afraid of sharing my things because I always thought someone else was going to break it or they were going to steal it from me. Eventually, I became more selfless and was able to lend my items to others, and I began to trust my friends more and the people around me. I was brave because I was able to let go of the fear that I had of my things getting stolen or broken. We need to teach others to be selfless and trust people while making sacrifices for others to help them. Because when others around us get better, so do we. We improve just like them. Being brave enough to sacrifice for others becomes an important part of how we grow and how others grow as well. To me, bravery is something that everyone can have. As long as we're able to have empathy for others, be able to sacrifice, and face our failures, we'll be able to have bravery. It does take a lot to be brave, and bravery isn't something that's easily attainable. But over time, we can do it. We can become brave. It's not always about being a valiant prince. It's not always about being courageous and strong. What matters in the end is being able to overcome obstacles, step into someone else's shoes, and make sacrifices for others. If we were all a little more brave, the world will become a better place. We don't have to be rescuing princesses in our free time. We just need to be a little brave. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 4, and 2 minutes for our judges. Moving along, I'd like to introduce to you Speaker 5, Cadet Choice. Why is having a military important? Why is having a military important? Speaker 5.
My sister and I are coming home from a concert in our village in Israel. We are riding my bike. She's in the back and I'm in the front. All of a sudden, we hear it, the siren. A rocket is launched by Hamas, a Palestinian terrorist organization, towards our village. We have to run to the nearest bomb shelter. We get off the bike and start running. Suddenly, I hear my sister, Chaya, yelling, "Help, I'm stuck." Her skirt is caught in the bike. Without thinking, I run back and pull on the skirt as hard as I can, ripping it. We run to the shelter and wait for the siren to stop. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow cadets and judges, good afternoon. I am Air Cadet Sarah Malul from 655 Richmond Squadron. I am here to talk about the importance of the military. Why is it so important for a country to have a military? Firstly, they protect us under extreme conditions. Militaries ensure that civilians can live peacefully. I know firsthand what it is to have to live under the constant fear of war and terrorism. I was born in Israel in 2008. Israel is perpetually in conflict with various terrorist groups. As a result, I've lived through 3 wars. I lived in a small village near Jerusalem called Tekoa. I was homeschooled, and I went to sewing classes every Wednesday morning. One time, my mother, brother, sister, and I went to the park before my class, and then my mother dropped me off at class and returned to the park. 10 minutes later, my mom returned, slamming the door behind her. She whispered something to my teacher. My teacher stopped what she was doing and told me to get away from the windows, and I had no idea what was going on. Later, I found out that 2 terrorists had gotten into the village and tried to kill anyone they saw. They had even tried to get into the local school, which horrified me. My sister told us that each teacher was given a gun and that the school went into lockdown. Luckily, the 2 terrorists were spotted by the people in the neighboring village, who were actually Palestinian Arabs. They had warned our security just in time for them to call the soldiers to take care of the situation. Having lived in a country that is constantly in conflict, I understand the importance of having a military to protect your country. Soldiers risk their lives so you don't have to lose yours. I'm so grateful for the Canadian Forces for keeping us safe, because I know that without the soldiers risking their lives every day for the people of Canada, we wouldn't be here. The military in Canada is a voluntary service that allows people to understand the mission for the greater good of the country, helping the country during war, missions ordered by the government, and helping in natural disasters. The Canadian Forces play an important role around the world. They're the world's peacekeepers and are the first to help when any country needs them. For example, over the past 14 years, the Canadian Forces have taken part in operations alongside the US military to help stop trafficking by organized crime in South America. During this time, they have found and seized approximately 105 tons of cocaine and over 6.7 tons of marijuana. Furthermore, in 2020, responding to the COVID-19 pandemic, The Canadian Forces went to assist in nursing homes where COVID had broken out, taking care of patients and making sure that they get the best possible treatment for the virus. Some characteristics military personnel need are to be a leader and to be self-disciplined. Soldiers who serve in the military are trained to work within a very structured environment. They learn how to have the instinct to run into danger instead of running from it. To learn this instinct, which is unnatural, they must undergo harsh training in extreme conditions and make extreme sacrifices. My grandfather Papa was a Holocaust survivor. He lost most of his family in Auschwitz concentration camp. After an arduous journey all around Europe to escape the Nazis, he eventually made his way to Israel, where he was one of the founders of the Israeli Navy SEALs. He believed that every country in the world should have a strong military to protect their citizens. And one of his mottos was never be afraid of the unknown. Be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. A military protects its country, working to keep its citizens safe. They selflessly give of themselves in crisis, and to do that, they must be fearless and willing to help in the face of extraordinary danger. Not many regular people would make the sacrifice necessary to do this, and for that, I have nothing but gratitude and admiration for our country's military. They are nothing short of heroic. May they always be safe. Thank you very much. My name is Sarah Malol. Have a great rest of your day. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 5. And 2 minutes for our judges. Moving along, we have Speaker 6. What I've learned during COVID-19 pandemic. What I've learned during COVID-19 pandemic. Speaker 6.
Oh, I'm so tired from all this homework. I just want to die. Maybe I should just jump off a bridge. But I'm serious. This amount of workload is giving me depression. I don't know how many times I've heard such words in today's society. And honestly, it's baffling to me how hard it is for us to decipher whether or not those who say such words mean them. Do they really want to die? Are they actually depressed? Or, and here is the golden question, were they really just following the trend of exaggeration? Good afternoon to all those present today. My name is Sergeant Kwong from 692 BCIT Aerospace Squadron, and today I'll be addressing something I've learned and noticed during quarantine, specifically over-exaggeration and the trend of exaggeration. Before I start, I'd like to clarify that throughout the entirety of my speech, I am never trying to be offensive to the idea of suicide or depression, nor am I trying to give a solution. The only objective of my speech today is to be informative. So what is this trend of exaggeration I keep mentioning? In the simplest form, it's the idea that more and more people today are starting to over-exaggerate their words, when in reality, their current situation is not as severe as they claim it to be. So, for example, during the pandemic, PE courses for high schoolers have turned into almost all strength workouts and running programs, which is extremely tiring, by the way. And because it's so physically demanding, I would often hear my friends say something like this. God, Erica, when is this going to end? I swear, if I do any more of this, I'm going to kill myself. In this situation, my friend's wanting to kill herself expression is really just an exaggerated expression of I'm tired. But funnily enough, when she mentioned she wanted to kill herself, I did not even flinch because I was so used to her saying things like these. So instead, I instinctively put her words as irrelevant because somehow I just knew it was a joke, and somehow it was in her tone that told me that it was an over-exaggerated expression. But why? Why are we so quick to decide that these words are irrelevant or just a joke or just an exaggerated expression? What if she actually meant what she said? What if she was actually going to kill herself and I just didn't realize it? At that moment, that's not something, oh, somehow I just knew or somehow it was in her tone can justify. Over the last year, I've come to a realization that words are becoming more and more meaningless because we simply don't understand. We don't understand how severe the meaning behind words like love, hate, depression, and even death can be. By now, we've overused these words to the point that they don't really have their original meaning anymore. For example, literally just 2 days ago, I met a girl online, and within the first few hours, I said, I love you. And for what reason? It was because she was super nice. Statistics have shown that around half of our teen society today are most likely over-exaggerating their words. And because of this, people who actually mean their words and might need help might not be able to get help on time. How? Let's pull up a theoretical example. Let's say that at a high school right now, there are 10 students who said they wanted to die verbally. The school counselor would of course need to reach out to these 10 students and give them help because that's their job. But they would have to do it one by one because it's a very personal matter. But that means it takes time. After going through 8 out of 10 of these people, she realizes that all 8 of them were really just over-exaggerating their words. And at that moment, she received a call saying that the last 2 who she wasn't able to reach have passed away due to suicide. This is a great example of how grave this matter is and how the increasing amount of people who are starting to over-exaggerate their words are putting lives at risk. There's also a huge problem in how exaggerating words causes many possible victims to not express their mental health issues. When so many of us keep saying things like, oh, I want to die, or oh, I have depression. People who genuinely mean these words think that these words don't help them anymore. Because what makes my words authentic? Judges, spectators, and fellow cadets, over-exaggeration in word is without a doubt a problem modern society faces today. And it's been normalized to the point that we barely notice. Even for me, if I had not been given the time during quarantine to think and learn about this, I would not have been able to present this speech today. Judges, I will leave you with one question. Judging by what you've learned from me today, what can you personally do to address this problem? And once you found it, share it, because you can help us find the solution. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Speaker 6, and 2 minutes for our judges. And to continue, we have Speaker 7. What does bravery mean to you? What does bravery mean to you? Speaker 7.
The most popular movies in the theater have always been action movies. These movies are entertaining, especially when brave heroes are fighting in the midst of danger. Yet, this gives us a false sense of what defines bravery. When you take a closer look into reality, bravery can be shown in real life too. Reflect on a time when you have been brave. Now, I can tell with the talking to any one of you that these brave moments are not the same as the ones shown in movies. However, all brave acts have something in common, and that is the motivation brought by an individual's fear. The few of the many reasons why I believe people choose to be brave is because they seek to create good outcomes, fight to protect loved ones, and to grow in self-confidence, all of which can help shape them into who they are today. Hello, honorable judges, officers, and fellow cadets. My name is Flight Corporal Ma from 692 BCIT Aerospace Squadron, and today I will be sharing with you what bravery means to me. In our everyday lives, we often encounter brave acts. But what is bravery? First, bravery could be unforgettable acts done by ordinary people who go above and beyond to protect others. Take Canadian Armed Forces for an example. They promote peacemaking by protecting our country, and their sacrifices of personal safety is remarkable and beyond what most people will be willing to do. This type of bravery is well known in movies, but that is why many others think that bravery only means being fearless. Even so, I consider unnoticed acts that are quiet, humble, and personal to be brave too. They are usually only visible to the people involved, and it takes courage to step up and take action. For example, saying a reasonable no to something when everyone expects you to say yes. Or taking responsibility for a group failure when everyone else is trying to pass blame. The way our society views bravery is that the more extravagant the act is, the more the act seems. However, I believe anyone can be brave, and I believe fear is necessary to motivate the need to be brave. For me, bravery is defined by not letting fear overwhelm you, but instead using fear as a motivation to win private victories. Because these fears are something you want to overcome, they inspire you to break through them. Each potential results of all sorts of brave acts are always positive outcomes for you and for those involved. This can lead to self-confidence, which I believe can bring hope for a better tomorrow. One reason for everyone to notice bravery now, more than ever, is because of the pandemic. The infections have so much lately, and unfortunately, so have the deaths. Most of us, not even me, can imagine being in a healthcare worker's position, fighting against an invisible enemy. And like any other brave act, they share similar stresses, such as the fear of emotional or physical consequences. Our healthcare workers show their bravery through their commitment and selflessness to the patients. Imagine leaving your loved ones behind to stand up against what nobody else would do. Imagine working hours or even days, ignoring your own needs and safety to save lives. For me, it's amazing how we see the constant determination they have for the patients, even if it means risking their own lives. Through their bravery and sacrifices, I believe they'll be continuously celebrated even after the pandemic. I believe bravery can begin at a very young age or as soon as a young person begins to explore the world. Anyone can be brave, but that can only happen if the comforts and protections are removed so that fears are realized. When I was in preschool, I feared my parents leaving my side. It was an unfamiliar feeling for me because I was always so used to my parents being around me. So when they left me alone, I started crying my heart out. And in kindergarten, I did the same thing, and this pattern of fear kept happening until grade 2. When I was in grade 2, I faced my fears and held in my tears. Previously, I would be comforted over time and by my teachers, but I overcame that fear by comforting myself and talking to new faces. This experience has given me confidence and taught me that I could overcome any of my fears. The only way I did that was by believing in myself and understanding why I wanted to overcome it. Bravery at a young age has gradually built my confidence so that I would do seemingly simple things such as trying new activities or making new friends. Throughout my life, bravery has been so important to me because without those fundamental experiences, I wouldn't be who I am today. Bravery can be shown in different forms. It can be personal, big, or small. Maybe this means talking to a new classmate at lunch because you believe in including others. Or it could be overcoming the fear of heights because you want to experience new things. Whatever it may be, sometimes it won't be like the glamorous acts seen in movies. But the biggest part of being brave is the shaping of your character. In all cases, there's a need to move outside of the usual and to take action against your fears. And your actions will help develop you into a person who lives life purposefully. So start now and your future self will thank you for it. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 7, and 2 minutes for our judges. So this concludes the prepared section of our competition is complete, and we'll take a 10-minute break so everyone can go for a bio break, grab another cup of coffee, stretch a little bit, and we'll return back at 3:11. Without further ado, I have Speaker 7. The question is, Bollicatter is a unique Canadian word. Tell us the meaning, and if you don't know, make it up. Speaker 7.
Hello, my name is Pleiko Rama, and I'm 14 years old and in grade 9. I remember in social studies, about a week before winter break, my socials teacher decided to give us a game. It was Weird Words in Canada. Specifically, we were studying maps and Canada. So I remember coming across this word, ballycatter. Now, to me, it sounds like a mix of batter for a cake or a pancake and caterpillar, ballycatter. It is a really funny word in my opinion, but I believe there is a specific meaning behind it. Now, when you look at Canada, for me, I see it as a cold place, ice, possibly snow, a fun place where you can play with snow and build snowmans. That's how I see Canada. And in my opinion, I feel like ballycatter is a certain type of snow or ice. Now, I am completely honest, I do not remember what ballycatter means, but I feel like it has to be something related to Canada, something related to the weather. I remember asking my American friend when she transferred to my school. I asked her, what do you think about the word Canada? And she said, oh, well, I think Canada is a place where there's a lot of freedom. It's super fun. It's basically a Walmart version of America. And I feel like it's really cold. And that's when I think to myself, everyone thinks that Canada is cold, and I certainly agree. So that is why I think that ballycatter, a mix of the word batter and caterpillar, has to relate to something about snow or ice, because that is what resembles Canada, and that is what makes up Canada. That's the personality of Canada. And to that, these are the reasons why I think that ballycatter means ice or snow. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 7. And 2 minutes for our judges. Next, I'd like to introduce to you Speaker 6. The impromptu question is, ballycatter is a unique Canadian word. Tell us the meaning, and if you don't know, make it up. Speaker 6.
Judges, when you think of the word nature, what do you think about? Personally, I think about my personal therapist. Whenever I'm stressed or whenever I feel sad, I go to nature. The blue sky, the common green trees, the beautiful flowers. It makes me all calm and happy. The beautiful colors, it's all nature. To me, nature is my personal therapist. I absolutely adore nature, which is why today I'm going to name ballycatter as defined as respect for nature. Throughout the entire 15 years of my life, I have never come across a word that is defined as simply respect for nature. In the 21st century, we've started to pollute our world to the point where the ozone layer is thinning, to the point where we have so many parts per million, to the point that carbon monoxide is such a common word, which is why having a word that is specifically dedicated to the idea of respect for nature is extremely important to me. I love nature, as I said before, which is why if I had the chance to, I would define ballycatter, a unique word to the Canadian culture, as respect for nature. We must respect nature because it's the place we live in. Earth is nature, and we cannot start polluting it more and more. We have to have respect for it, and we have to start caring for it like it's our own mother. Why? Because to this day, there are so many companies that have been polluting and not caring about our nature. And so having ballycatter as a word as dedicated to respect for nature means that every time we use ballycatter, we remind ourselves that we must have respect for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker 6. And 2 minutes for our judges. Next, we have Speaker 5. Ballycatter is a unique Canadian word. Tell us the meaning. If you don't know, make it up. Speaker 5.
Balacatter. Quite an interesting word. The meaning behind it is very unique. It is the ice that forms along a shore from waves and spray. Why is it so special? Hi, I am Air Cadet Sarah Malul from 655 Richmond Squadron. I'm here to talk about the word balacator. Balacator is a word that originated from Newfoundland, and it signifies the ice that forms from the waves and spray of the ocean along the shore. My favorite season would be winter, because that's exactly the thing that I love the most about winter. You get to see how ice slowly forms along lakes and rivers, and it's so fun to help and to go and see how the ice forms and how you can go and, for example, ice skate. And when you go to the shore, once or twice you would probably see this occurrence. This word, as I've said before, originated from Newfoundland. Newfoundland is a place in Canada where most of the time over there it snows and it's pretty cold over there. But this unique occurrence had determined and made them think of a word for it. I personally think that it is such a unique word and has such an interesting meaning behind it, that it is one of the most important and unique and interesting and absolutely incredible word in the dictionary, especially because it originates in Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Speaker 5, and 2 minutes for our judges. Next, I'd like to introduce to you Speaker 4. Balacatter is a unique Canadian word. Tell us the meaning. If you don't know, make it up. Speaker 4.
Balacatter. A very interesting word. It could mean anything. And to be honest, I have no idea. To me, balacatter sounds like a sports term. Ball and catter. And they're put together to make this unique word, balacatter. Now, I think this word is a sports term for a ball cleaning team. Now, obviously, you're going to think, wow, that is such a bold prediction. And obviously, that is probably wrong. But I have very good points to support this. So, catter sounds like a cleaning term. It's just sounds like one. People, there's like caterers, right? Caterers, they're not always a cleaning team, but they help people and they serve stuff. And I feel like catter sounds like that. And I feel like they have like a connection. And ball obviously indicates a ball. And the I in between the ball and the catter is there to help to make a good transition. So I think that this word is used to describe a ball cleaning team, with ball to indicate a ball and catter as a cleaning term. And together they're combined to mean a ball cleaning team. So yeah, that is what I think what balacatter means.
Thank you, Speaker 4. And 2 minutes for our judges. And here we have Speaker 3. Ready? Speaker 3, the impromptu question is, balacatter is a unique Canadian word. Tell us the meaning. If you don't know, make it up. Speaker 3.
Hi, everyone. So I wanted to tell you what the definition of ballycatter is. The definition is to be there for the ones you love. Now, it is a Canadian word because Canadians have such a good history and a good reputation of being known of being polite and kind and supportive for the people around them. And anyone who can be a ballycatter. It just takes your own personal preference to do it. Last night, I was a ballycatter. My friend was having a really, really rough night, and I was there for him. I was there on maybe a 3-hour call till about 2 a.m. in the night, and I refused to go to sleep until I knew that he was going to be okay. Because I was going to be a ballycatter. I was going to stay there and be there for him when he needed it most. At the same time, my own family has done that for me constantly. By doing this, anyone can do it. No matter what, it's not that difficult to become a ballycatter. Like a time when I was in about grade 9, my best friend was having a really rough time. Her mom is not the best at caring, and she had a couple rough nights. I remember one night she came to my house and had to stay the night. It was a rough night, it was cold, and it was snowing. It was a literal blizzard outside, and she came home to me. And I was there for her when she needed it most. And that's the best I could possibly do for somebody that I loved. And I did this because I know that everyone else would do the same for me. Because that's what it is to be a ballycatter. Because the worst thing is to be alone during those rough times. Anybody can do it. It's not that hard if we do it together.
Thank you, speaker 3. And 2 minutes for our judges. So speaker 2, ready? Speaker 2, ballycatter is a unique Canadian word. Tell us the meaning. And tell us the meaning. If you don't know, make it up. Speaker 2.
Good afternoon, judges, Madam Chair, and fellow cadets. So my impromptu speech topic was one that I was definitely not expecting, and it was the meaning of ballycatter. So my first thought was, what does this mean? And what I thought the word meant was some sort of emotion, mainly something to do with anger or a sport, such as something related to hockey or, a typical Canadian sport. But what I didn't expect is the real meaning of it, and I'll get to that in a second. The word ballycatter, I personally have never ever heard of this word before. So when I was looking it up, I was surprised, to say the least. The word ballycatter means ice formed by the action in winter of spray and waves along the shoreline. I was extremely confused. My first thought was, how does this even occur? In the winter, it says in the winter, ice is formed by the action of it appearing in waves along the shoreline. So my first thought was, if the water is appearing in waves, how does it possibly form into ice? Does it occur on beaches? Does it occur in high places? Does it occur in the mountains? The truth is, I had absolutely no idea. And to be honest, I still don't have any idea. But what I think would be a better meaning for this word would be a style of storytelling. This word to me seems like something to do with a more creative aspect of the world instead of an action formed in the winter. I was very thoroughly surprised. I had absolutely no idea what I would be speaking about, and this definitely isn't what I thought it would be. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker 2. And 2 minutes for our judges. Speaker 1. Speaker 1, you ready? Speaker 1, ballycatter is a unique Canadian word. Tell us the meaning. And if you don't know, make it up. Speaker 1.
There are a lot of words in the English language that you don't know the meaning of. Some are strange or some are just plain common sense. and some you just doubt the existence of. Ballycatter is one of those words that fit in the third category. I first heard this word while playing Scrabble with a friend of mine from Newfoundland. We were on a trip to Ottawa, and I just met him there. Uh, I had to challenge him on that word because I didn't believe it existed. But then he told me, Ballycatter is a local word in Newfoundland that meant the sea ice spray that formed in Newfoundland. I found this extremely interesting, and I find that though words can mean some things to others, such as gibberish to us, to people from Newfoundland, it's just a common part of their vocabulary. It is important to understand that when someone uses a new word like that, uh, you need to use context clues, like what you're talking about, to figure out what it means. To me, I just couldn't get it, so I had to have him explain. It is I find that the best way to ask friends is to make a joke out of it. Uh, but it's extremely important to grow your vocabulary in a way that will make you use interesting words in the future. Because I find that the ones that you learn in elementary school are the most boring, and the most interesting words that you can learn are local slang and terminology you find from across the entire world. Ballycatter is just one of many Canadian words throughout all of Canada from coast to coast. Uh, though it is not essential, it is important to learn these as context for further understanding of Canadian culture and language and heritage. Ballycatter is special because it is a word made by Canada to describe a Canadian phenomenon. My name is Flight Sergeant Abdullah, and that has been my speech on Ballycatter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Speaker 1. And 2 minutes for our judges, please. Now, it looks like our judges are just finishing up there. So I will divulge the meaning of Ballycatter. And Ballycatter is a unique Canadian word. And to some of these cadets, they were correct. It is ice that is formed along a shore from waves and spray, and it originates from Newfoundland. Now, for our judges, if I may comment, these cadets were not to look it up, and if you can mark according to their speech and not on whether they knew the meaning of the word or not. At this point, I will have the judges and the tally person move over to the briefing room for them to complete any evaluations and comments and transfer the marks to the tally person. And then I will start the cadet interviews while you are doing that. All our speeches are completed. And it seemed like some of you didn't read the handbook. The rules and regulations for impromptu is that you are not supposed to use any devices to search for the meanings of the words. It was all supposed to come right off the top of your head. But if you did know it and you based your speech upon that, then that is good on you. With what's happening, I know it's very convenient to have a device out of camera view, but when you quote it direct off the dictionary, it is too apparent. I'm going to leave it at that. So we are going to go on to our cadet interviews. So if I can have each of our cadets rename themselves back to their rank and their name, please. So thank you everyone for participating in the Lower Mainland Virtual Effective Speaking Competition. Right now, we're gonna have a few questions for you and give the judges and the tally person some time to complete their markings. So let's start with Speaker 1. Where did Speaker 1 go?
Right here,
there you are. All right, Speaker 1. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the squadron you're with and how long you've been with them.
My name is Mohammed Abdullah. I am from 278 Cormorant Squadron, and I've been with it for around 4 years now.
Perfect. Now, I have a question. What part of cadets do you miss the most and you look forward to when we're able to return, probably in the fall? We'll see.
There's two things that I miss the most. The first is just being able to talk to cadets of all levels and stuff, because you don't really get a chance to interact with people outside of your level. Especially the newer cadets, they aren't very familiar with our squadron.
Mm.
The second thing I miss the most is actually drill. I really enjoyed it. Sad to see that I wasn't able to do it, though I'm not much for a drill team, though.
It's kind of hard to holler your commands. Is that right, at home? Unless you have a
Right, yeah.
pet, you might be calling the command out to your pet, but I
Yeah.
don't think they'll be following your command there. But you are so true. As soon as we get back, I think the in-person is a very important aspect for us for the young people there. Now, what is your favorite activity during this time that we were at home with COVID? Like not home with COVID, but during this COVID pandemic.
Do you mean by cadet activity?
No, anything.
I like to play video games a lot. My brother just got a new computer, so I play video games with him a lot too. Yeah,
And what is the video game that you are playing?
Oh, we play dozens of games. It rotates every few
Call of
days.
Duty, League of Legends. Are we still on Minecraft? Are you doing Among Us?
Among Us a little bit with my friends,
Ah.
Minecraft a little with my friends. Not much of a Call of Duty or
Not the shooting games.
not the shooting games. No.
Ah, okay. That's good to know. All right, let's move on to speaker 2. If you can introduce yourself, the squadron you're with, and how long you've been with them.
Hi, I'm Flight Corporal Sharma. I'm from 819 Skyhawk Squadron in North Delta, and I've been there for roughly 2 to 3 years, I believe.
Good job. And how do you like it? Well, disregard this last year that just passed,
Pretty
but
good.
your
Pretty
first
good.
impressions.
Yeah, I mean, I admit at the beginning I wasn't the biggest fan, but I think it grew on me over time.
That's good. That's good. Now, the same question, what do you miss most about cadets?
I would say I miss interactions the most. You know, it's different over a screen. I just miss talking to people face to face. You know,
Yeah.
answering questions like without the chat. But yeah.
So not CFA, not Canadian Fitness Assessments?
Definitely not.
What about effective speaking?
I do miss effective speaking in person. It's been a little different online, but I definitely miss, you know, going up to the front, you know.
Bravo, nice to hear. And this is just one platform that we can be able to learn off each other regarding the effective speaking methods there. Now, let's go into high school. Are you half on, half off? Are you online or full on school?
Yes. No, half of it is online and half of it is in person.
So it's coming up March, April, May, June, 3 more months.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get
Yeah. And oops, sorry to remind you guys, 2 more days and you're back to school, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
enjoy the freedom that you have and sleeping in for another 48 hours. And then, sorry guys, back to school it is. All right, thank you very much. Speaker 3, if you can introduce yourself and the squadron that you're with.
Hi everyone. I'm from 819 Skyhawk Squadron. My name is Flight Sergeant D'Souza, Thea, as labeled here. Wait, what was I supposed to do now?
How long have you been with the squadron, and what do you miss most about going to cadets?
So I've been with the squadron for about, oh my gosh, five years now. So yeah, kind of time flies by, but yeah, I've been with the squadron for about 5 years. I think the thing I miss most is teaching, actually. I know a lot of people
Oh.
say that they don't like teaching and stuff like that, but I myself, I'm like a really loud person, right? So being on Zoom, it's like with my flight, I've kind of like designated the fact that I will like drag them to like put their mics on and have a full-blown conversation with me. And I will make sure that they do it. And eventually they get comfortable with it and they just get used to it, and it's really fun. So I think I miss being able to teach them the most and being like in the mentorship position, because like I did mentoring in school and I really loved it. So I think I just missed the mentoring for sure. That was the main thing.
Bravo. And I think you're doing a fabulous job. And it's a great way to inspire the younger people about effective speaking, like just what you were just doing. You're trying to grab their attention, influence them, and have them participate and speak out more. And sometimes it's more of the fear of speaking. That's why they don't really speak out. But now that you're kind of forcing them to do it, the more that they do it, the more comfortable they will be.
Yeah, and I
So
think being online made it a lot easier too, because it's just like they were so much more chatty once I got them a little bit more comfortable.
that's true.
So much
But I
more.
think they only wear their tunic and their dress
Yeah.
shirt and their pajama pants on the
Yeah.
bottom, right? So one more question is, oh goodness. Here's a different one. What is your favorite condiment to put on a hot dog?
Ketchup, always. We love ketchup. It goes with everything.
Ketchup all the way, right?
Everything.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Let's move on to speaker number 4. Introduce yourself and the squadron that you're with.
I'm Corporal Shu. I'm from 655 Richmond Squadron. Yeah.
Bravo. And how long have you been with us or with the cadet program?
This is my second year. Yeah,
Nice.
not very long.
And are you a gamer?
Let's
It's
just
okay.
say I do play quite a bit. Yeah.
Bravo, bravo. So what is the game that you are playing with
Play
now?
a lot of Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Awesome. So not first person shooter games or any of that good stuff.
I don't like those very much.
No, okay. That's all right. Hey, each to their own. Favorite holiday that you like?
My birthday, because I mean,
Did you know that was a holiday?
well, I mean, to me, it's a holiday, right? Because I mean, like we don't celebrate any other holidays like we don't really celebrate other holidays as much. Like we don't celebrate Christmas, we don't celebrate Halloween. Like we don't do very much on those days.
That's okay. Holidays is when you get presents, eat cake, and have like all the good stuff, right? So be it being your birthday, right? Awesome. Great job. All right, let's go on to speaker 5. I believe I'm on. Losing count right now. Introduce yourself and the squadron that you're with.
Hi, I'm Air Cadet Sarah Malul from 655 Richmond Squadron. And I've been with them for around, I think 5 months. So very new.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a sergeant. So you were advanced. You
No,
expedite.
I'm an air cadet.
In the air. Okay.
Yes.
Now, again, what is the favorite holiday that you like?
Well, I'm Jewish, so I celebrate like the Jewish holidays. And I think one of my favorite holidays to celebrate is Purim, which is basically like the Jewish version of Halloween. And instead of going trick-or-treating, we just like we make little packages of like sweets and like candy and stuff like that, and we send it to like whoever we want as well.
Nice. Oh, I'm so sorry, AC Malul. I was looking at a different picture. That's why I said sergeant, but bravo. And since you're so new, I guess I can't ask you what you miss most about cadets. Is there something new that you've learned, either a skill during this pandemic at home?
Well, what do you mean, like out of cadets?
Cooking,
Oh,
needlework,
well, um,
welding.
over the past like year, I have like baked a lot of food and cooked a lot of food. Um, and I mean, I've always liked baking and cooking, but the lockdown just like gave me a reason and like time to make all this food.
I'm on the same page as you. I'm learning new recipes and trying out new things, especially with so much time on my hands right now. Thank you very much, Ms. AC Malo. Let's move on to speaker. What number am I on? 6?
6, that's me.
6.
Hi.
Introduce yourself and tell me the squadron you're with.
My name is Sergeant Kwong, and I'm from 692 BCIT Aerospace Squadron. I've been with them for 4 years, and my brother is also in the same squadron, so it's fun. Yeah.
Siblings in the same squadron. Fantastic. So since you are a sergeant, what is the what aspect of cadets do you miss the most?
So because we're in BCIT, which is a great like campus and like a university or something, there are times when like we have like not Thursday nights and we have flight nights or something. And I go to my there was this one time I went to my brother's flight night because I was in the same flight as him. We ate pizza under the staircase. It was really funny because we couldn't eat in the classrooms. So we decided to eat under a staircase and we just gobbled everything down. It was really hilarious. I think I miss all the nights that we didn't have to wear uniform because I absolutely despise gelling my hair.
It can be painful, I hear, like the gelling and the pinning. But I think what you miss most is the bonding with the other cadets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. And speaker 7, introduce yourself and the squadron you're with.
Hello, my name is Flight Corporal Ma. I'm from 692 BCIT Airspace Squadron. I've actually been to the squadron for a couple months now because I'm actually a transfer squadron from 6x5.
Bravo. And was it due to moving that you transferred squadrons?
No, part of it was because of my brother. He's in 692, but also because after going to GT camp, the 2-week course, I met so many friends from 692 that I just decided to transfer from 692.
I see it from your parents' standpoint as one drive, take 2 child to one location.
Yes, of course.
That's my point. Thank you very much, cadets. And I see that our judges have returned back with us. So I'm going to, if I may, read out Miss Cindy Chan's biography. And I'd like to thank Miss Chan for coming out today and helping us with the judging, the evaluating of our young cadets here at this competition. So Miss Chan, she is a distinguished Toastmaster member and 10 plus years with Toastmasters, and the home club is Positive Expressions Toastmasters Club. She loves helping people grow and succeed with Toastmaster skills. And she's worked as a financial advisor and has helped people save money and build their future. So thank you very much, Ms. Chan. Do you have a few comments for our cadets?
Yes, thank you for having me. It is an honor, my honor always, to be able to join such talented speaker and talented school. And every time I come to cadet, I just give me goosebumps, not because you guys are scary. It's just because you guys are just so good, so brave to step up of your comfort zone, not just to do a prepared speech. And the impromptu speak question, I'm like asking myself, what is my answer going to be? But you guys answer it with creative mind and just wonderful, wonderful answer. If I may to give like just maybe 1 or 2 tips is when you're reading your, when you have to prepare speech, you know your speech, you know your craft. Try not to, try to remember some of the good points that you have. Try to remember maybe the quotation that you have, so you don't have to read so much into it. just make a few practice. Speak from your heart, because I know you guys can all do it. I can see the potential in all of you. Just make me want to cry. I just wish that my girl is just as brave and as good as you guys. And for the impromptu speaking, I would love for to suggest that maybe if you would just repeat the questions like some of you have, or maybe even have some of you have is to reference your personal stories. Personal story is a great way to segue into whatever is being asked of you, which some of you really does well. You use the quotation, you ask the question. You can even in impromptu speak to ask the audience back to draw their interest. And I knew you guys would have so much in front of you, and you guys do so well. And I just cannot wait to hear from all of you again. And congratulations to all of you that has attended today, because you are all superstar to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chan, for your kind words. Next, I have Miss Elizabeth Tate. Miss Tate, would you like to speak? Have a few comments for our cadets and introduce yourself as well? Oh, I lost her.
Oh, hold on.
Oh,
Where'd I go? Oh, there I am. And I'm unmuted too. I just think this has been a fantastic experience for me. I've never dealt with anything with the cadets, and the level that these young people have achieved is just amazing. Thank you so much for including me. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'd like to do it again. I enjoyed it. It was huge for me. Thank you.
thank you, Ms. Tate. And next I have Mr. Kara. Can you introduce yourself and give us a few comments for our young people?
Sure. Thank you, Jermaine. Just wanted to say congratulations to everyone for having an amazing contest today. I had the pleasure of being a judge, and I just wanted to say I've had the pleasure of being a judge at actually Toastmasters contests as well, because I'm a Toastmasters member. I have been for about 9 months now. And during those contests, there were some speeches that really set themselves apart, and it was clear on who number 1 or number 2 winner should be. But today, I was absolutely stunned at the quality and level of speech that was given today. I'm absolutely amazed that you are so young and so talented. I'm so happy for all of you. And it was so tough as a judge to figure out who am I going to place first, second, and third. It was so close. I was absolutely blown away by how such an amazing job that you did with your speeches. And I'm excited for you, because I think you guys have a bright future ahead. And if I could give some tips, it would just be to use your body language a little bit more. I don't know, it wasn't really in the criteria to judge from what I was given on your body language and your camera positioning, but just going forward, maybe be a little bit more aware of that. If the audience can see at least your upper body, as well as your hand movements and gestures, that's going to help you deliver a more effective message. And if you're doing impersonations of anyone or telling stories, really get into that and try to mimic how that person sounds and how they would have said what they said, and make it different from your own voice and your own speech, because then it just adds another dimension to your storytelling. But yeah, other than that, like I said, it's great, amazing job. I'm so happy that I was able to witness this and find out what Air Cadets is a little bit about, and the type of character that it builds. I'm super glad to see that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kara, for your comments. I've received the names, but I need to broadcast a video. So please enjoy this video for just a little bit.
Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Juvenin, and I represented Squadron 249 at the competition in 2014.
Canada is awesome. But it wasn't always awesome. In fact, it wasn't even always known as Canada. But 150 years ago, some awesome people got together and figured out how to make it happen.
I graduated from the Royal Military College of Canada in 2018 with a degree in chemical engineering. I'm currently a helicopter pilot for the Royal Canadian Air Force, and I'm posted to 103 Search and Rescue Squadron in Gander, Newfoundland to fly the CH-149 Cormorant.
William Henry Pope had to row out in his own little rowboat and bring everyone ashore each day. So as funny as it sounds, Canada almost didn't become a country because of a circus.
I think for me, the effective speaking program highlighted the importance of thinking outside the box, being confident in your ability to take an idea and have some fun with it.
Hi, I'm Jay Shaw, and I represented Saskatchewan at the 2017 and 2018 National Effective Speaking Competition. Currently, I'm finishing my computer engineering degree, and right now I'm on a 16-month internship designing satellite communication systems.
The three aims of the Air Cadet program are to number 1, develop good citizenship and leadership, number 2, promote physical fitness, and number 3, stimulate an interest in the air element of the Canadian Forces. But is that all that the Air Cadet program does? I don't think so. Instead of just accomplishing these goals, I think the Air Cadet program provides something much more valuable: opportunity.
For me, the effective speaking program helped me build the skills needed to communicate on a big stage. Not just speaking skills, but also writing and thinking on-the-spot skills as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Pearl Barnes, and in 2016 I represented the 675 Bow Valley Air Cadet Squadron in the National Effective Speaking Competition in Richmond, BC. Currently, I am in Saskatoon getting my degree in education to become a high school English and French teacher. I also volunteer at the 702 Lynx Air Cadet Squadron in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and I'm an improviser in the USask Improv Theatre Group.
As I put on my headset to shut out 4 of the engines, I heard the pilot tell us to get ready because he would be taking off as soon as he got permission. A few words I didn't quite catch were spoken over the radio, and suddenly, we were going fast. Faster, it seemed, than I had ever gone.
I've gained so much from being in effective speaking. I was in the program from my first year all the way up into my 5th year when I won nationals. It's helped me become more confident not only in my future career as a teacher, but in so many facets of life. I am more confident speaking in front of a group of people. I'm more comfortable making friends. I'm more comfortable being in front of a camera. And I owe so much of that confidence to my experiences in the effective speaking program. If I could have one thing to say to the youth, kids who are thinking of joining Air Cadets, I could not recommend highly enough the effective speaking program. It really has changed who I am.
Hi, my name is Chris Zhou, and I represented 60 Confederation Squadron Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, all the way back in 2014. And I just graduated from McMaster University in the Health Sciences program.
I went up to the flight sergeant who was in charge, and I asked him, "Well, aren't you gonna be mad at me? I've just wasted hours of hard work, and now it's gonna rain and we have to do it again," and he stopped me. He placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder, and he said to me these 6 words: "Cheer up, it's gonna be all right."
For me, the effective speaking program gave me the courage, know-how, and the experience to communicate effectively with people professionally and personally. I remember right after I aged out of cadets, I was selected to be on the Prime Minister's Youth Council, and I was presenting ideas and suggestions directly to the Prime Minister. And I gotta tell you, if it wasn't for the effective speaking program, I don't think I would have been able to do that. So my advice is, if you're even considering about joining the effective speaking program, don't even hesitate, go for it. It was such a valuable part of my cadet experience, and I think it can be very valuable for you as well.
It is 1917. Sunrise creeps above the horizon. Artillery shells whistle overhead, and men scream on the ground.
Hi, my name is Cody Lincoln. I competed in the National Effective Speaking Competition 3 times, and I currently work as a duty officer at Vanguard Air Care. The Effective Speaking program has helped me leaps and bounds into having my intercommunication skills with other coworkers, speaking in front of a group without having any fears. It's helped me to be able to voice my opinions, and in life, the Effective Speaking program has helped me countless times to not be afraid to speak in front of people, and I can't wait to see where it helps me next.
If we look to the battlefields of World War I, we see why freedom is not free and why we cannot forget. It is only there that we may truly understand why it solidified the beliefs of our great nation, Canada.
Thanks to the cadet program, I have a bright future and have progressed as both a pilot and a person. And I'm more than proud to say I wear the 101 crest, both on my flight suit and my tunic. Thank you.
I don't think it's an overstatement to say that communication is the cornerstone of society. Politics, religion, science, art, they're all based on the idea of conveying information from one person to another. I cannot thank enough the Air Cadet program for teaching me communication skills, especially those that I learned in the Effective Speaking program.
And here I am, 4th year in a row, representing my squadron and now the province in effective speaking.
After all, speaking is the most important form of communication. You try going a day without talking to someone and tell me how much you get done. Back in 2015, I graduated from the program. I was a pilot and did fairly well in the effective speaking program. Now, I've been combining those two skills in order to communicate my skills to other people. I've tutored people here in town in order to go to flight school, and I'm involved with my local search and rescue unit, where I've trained several spotters in order to execute search and rescue missions across the vast Arctic. So, I hope that you, watching this here, will participate in your squadron's local effective speaking competition, and you go forward and use those skills to help others.
Hi, I'm Cameron Kinsella. I'm formerly from 807 Mount Pearl Squadron in Newfoundland, and I competed in the National Effective Speaking Competition in 2019. Currently, I'm studying mechatronics engineering at the University of Waterloo. The Effective Speaking program has provided me with a variety of skills that have helped me in both my personal and professional life. I found that I can speak with much more confidence and much more easily to large groups of people. And in my professional life, I found that I can communicate my ideas and thoughts much more clearly and accurately. When it comes to technology, you have to take the good with the bad. And in my eyes, the ability to better educate the world and save lives outweighs everything else. Today, we live in the digital age, and I'm happy to be alive to see it. Without this new advanced technology, I wouldn't be learning a new language. I may not be alive today. And perhaps most importantly, I wouldn't be able to start off my day by watching videos of cats playing boxes. I've never really been the outgoing type, so the effective speaking program was really outside my comfort zone. But even so, the skills that I gained from the program have been incredibly valuable for me in my daily life, and I'm eternally grateful for the opportunity to have been able to receive those skills.
It's a longer video than anticipated, but I have the names. So instead of keeping you guys all on the edge of your seat, I want to do just a little bit more talking. So I'm going to introduce to you Ms. Gail Eggert, who is the Director of Effective Speaking, National Scholarship Training Courses, Public Affairs. So she's got multiple hats on. So I'm going to have her say a few words and then I'll have go down the line. Ms. Elgert.
Thank you, Jermaine. I just wanted to commend all of you for participating in the effective speaking competition today. I have to say that this has been one of the best competitions I have ever witnessed. You're all worthy of placing in first place. However, unfortunately, we can't award 7 first place winners. So please don't feel discouraged if you're not that one person that takes that position today. Please continue with the program. It's an awesome program. You've all done very well today. I'm very impressed, and hope that you're able to encourage other cadets. And next year, we'll all be in person, I'm sure, also, hopefully in person to do the next year's competition. So congratulations to all of you, and I look forward to seeing you again in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Elgert. And next, I'd like to introduce to you BCPC's president, Ms. Terry Hinton. And Ms. Hinton, a few words for cadets?
Well, this program is one of my favorites. I've been involved in it for, I'm going to say 12 years, maybe more. My kids went through cadets and did the program as well. I just want to thank all of you speakers for giving us the gift of your speeches. It is a pleasure to be able to listen to such articulate young people, and you've got a great future ahead of you. These skills will take you through high school and university job interviews all through your life. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Hinton, for your words, your kind words. So, as a coordinator, I have to say a few things too and keep you in suspense for a little longer. What I wanted to share with you is that I did not envy the judges at all at this competition. I'm sure you had a tough job, and I'm so happy that you were able to do those on our behalf here. Everyone did amazing, and I'm hoping that you not only shared with us your speech, but I'm hoping that you also took away new methods and new ways of speaking effectively. And this is one of the ways that we will grow, and practice makes perfect, and we will do better the next time around and continue to grow that way. So thank you very much. And here I go again, sharing my slides. Actually, shall I have Ms. Hinton, you've done the last couple. May I have Ms. Gail Edgar announce?
That would be lovely.
Oh, thank you very much, ma'am, because you're my boss's boss. I want my boss to have a chance too. Ms. Gail Edgar, actually, that's right. Well, I'll post it and you can read it out. And here we go.
Okay, the winner of the bronze medal today for the Lower Mainland Effective Speaking is AC Malal from 655 Richmond Squadron. Congratulations.
Woohoo! Oops. Why am I not able to do the presentation? Oh, goodness. All right.
Okay, and the winner of the silver medal for the Lower Mainland Effective Speaking competition is Flight Sergeant Erica Kwong from 692. Congratulations. And the gold medal winner today is Flight Sergeant Thea D'Souza from 819 Skyhawk Squadron. And she will move on to the provincial competition. And also your name will be put on the plaque, which is held at the BCPC office. So congratulations, Flight Sergeant D'Souza.
And thank you very much, Ms. Gail Eggert, for announcing the top 3 names. But in my books, I think every single one of you are such great effective speaking cadets. And I just have to commend you. Those were amazing speeches. You are welcome to participate. You're welcome to come watch the Provincial Effective Speaking Competition, which is being held on April 17th. And it's a Zoom application at 1 to 5 o'clock p.m. And the meeting details can be forwarded to your squadrons, to the SSC or the Effective Speaking Coordinator. If not, you can reach me at this email address and I can forward you the competition details at that point of time. Again, thank you very much, everyone.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
You forgot to mention that their pins and certificates are going to be mailed
Yes,
out.
I am jumping ahead of myself. Must return to my script. Here we go. So, there we are. So the bronze pins, if you have not received them already, I will be mailing them out to you. Same with the certificate of achievements. And the judges will also receive a gift in the mail. So just making sure that we receive the correct address on the ACC 54 for the cadets and the declaration for the judges there. Our appreciations go out to our coaches, the officers, judges, parents, whole squadron of 692. To thank you very much for organizing and gathering all the volunteers today. And the cadets, again, thank you for your time, and you guys have done amazing on this virtual effective speaking competition, and you made this such a success. For any of the loved ones, they can take screenshots, pictures now, and thank you everyone for attending and supporting this great program. Congratulations to all the participants in this wing competition today. And you've all done an incredible job, so thank you. Bravo, everyone. This concludes our virtual effective speaking competition.